Attention, all you fishes in the sea. Welcome to the Fisch Bowl with Sam Fish.
Doug Jones and Derek Maki, manager of Doug Jones on the Fish Bowl. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for taking the time to swim in the Fish Bowl with me.
Ba-dum-bum.
I was hoping that you were going to have like a fishbowl set where you sat. That would be cool.
It's in the works. I'm trying to get a whole like aquatic, Jaws aquatic fishbowl theme going.
I've played two fishermen in my career too, so this is apropos. Yeah.
Exactly. And I have a lot of questions about those characters as well. But before we kind of get into that, my question for both of you is what got you interested in film, and as well as some of your inspirations and everything that kind of led to where things are at now and the Get Me Doug Jones documentary.
Okay, well, you can ask that one question. We can take up the entire hour doing that. Well, yeah, because that entire story with all its details are going to be in the documentary. Yes.
Okay.
As a young, skinny, goofy kid in Indiana with hopes and dreams, and then coming all the way up to today, where I have a 40-year career behind me now, and it's still a career yet ahead of me. We find a lot of details in that story. And the question most people ask about, like, how did this become what it is, with me being like known as the guy who wears rubber bits and plays monsters and creatures in film and TV. That kind of happened by accident. I was hoping my aspirations were to be a goofy next door neighbor on a sitcom. I grew up watching comedy, watching the Dick Van Dyke Show and the Andy Griffith Show, Don Knotts as Barney Fife, and Dick Van Dyke as a long, lanky man who was leading his own sitcom, beautiful. And the Carol Burnett Show, anybody on that, all the goofy people in that, Gilligan's Island, Gomer Pyle, all those old sitcoms that had funny people that weren't necessarily pretty. And I felt like a really ugly, geeky, out of sorts kid. And I thought, well, if I can grow up into one of these people, then I can be on TV. So that's where my aspirations were. And then when I got to Hollywoodland in 1985, my first agent had me out on auditions that involved being tall and skinny and with a mime background. So movement was a thing that he was pushing with all my auditions, as well as flexibility. I could put my legs behind my head, so contortionist was on my resume. Well, when you're going out for roles that are asking for that kind of physical tomfoolery, those roles often come with a look that has to be applied to you or slipped into you, zipped up the back, or glued on or painted on. So I met a lot of creature effects makeup artists when I started booking these movement-oriented jobs, and did a lot of commercials. So what happened was I booked my fourth TV commercial booking in 1986 was the Mac Tonight campaign for McDonald's, which was turned into a phenomenon. It was this crescent moon-headed character with a face on it and sunglasses on it. He was a cool hipster, like the nightclub singer that played on a piano that floated on the cloud as he sang about McDonald's. So that campaign turned into a 27 commercial campaign over a 3-year period. That's how I bought my first house. And not only that, excuse me, that was also the catalyst for the rest of my career. Sorry. Wow.
Are you okay?
Yeah, you need to,
No,
we're in
heart
the
attack
Fish Bowl,
order.
you're welcome to have some water.
No, I just don't want to die on camera. What happened then was a lot of creature effects makeup people worked on these commercial shoots with us, with the effects team. And so I started meeting and getting a reputation built with creature effects people. And by the end of that commercial campaign, I had relationships at all the major creature shops around LA. So what would happen in the referral process started. They would see a concept art of a tall, skinny creature and be like, I just worked with him on this commercial shoot. So those calls would come directly to me. So I kind of circumvented the usual casting process where TV show or a film would come to the creature effects house and say, here's a monster we want in our movie or show. The effects designers would say, oh, we just worked with a guy. We have a guy that was perfect for this. And the show would say, oh, well, you know better than we do. So bring him in, show us some pictures and we're good to go. So it was getting cast in things became easier because of these referrals. So I owe my career to the creature effects designers, honestly. Now,
Awesome.
and then getting up to today, when I started meeting directors like Guillermo del Toro in 1997 when I did his first American movie, Mimic, and then that relationship started. Yeah, it turned into 6 feature films and a TV series that he had me in. Now I'm getting recognized for not just my movement, but also my acting skills, hopefully. And and so when a director then comes back for you again and again, and he trusts your acting abilities, he trusts the way I climb into a character and become something, otherworldly, that then only kept the snowball getting bigger and bigger and bigger as it rolled down the hill. So that's how I landed where I am today. And now that I'm 65 years old, a page is being turned now where I'm not really seeking more monsters. I'm really leaning into human characters more now than ever before. I've been playing humans all along, but in smaller things that nobody knows. Now that's really been my focus. I'll never say never to monsters and creatures again. I mean, if the right role, the right director, the right paycheck, yeah, it comes up. I'll look into it, but right now what I'm seeking is great human characters. So this documentary will address all the past. We're going to get nostalgic about everything I've been through and all the career that I've had, but then it also is a great place to, announce to the world that my career continues from this point on, and hopefully with more humans than ever before.
Mhm.
Awesome, awesome. Well, one, I just want to say I've literally been a diehard fan of yours
Yeah.
since I was a kid.
Well, thank
I think probably the first movie that I saw you in that I probably gained a appreciation and fondness of one of the monsters was Billy from
you.
Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
I'm of that age range now, but I love makeup effects. I love the creators that make the amazing monsters and creatures and demons and aliens and everything that we see on the screen and stuff you've portrayed. And I make it a point to really follow the character creature actors because I believe that they're some of the most inspirational in terms of like art forms, performance, bringing those creatures to life. And I am one of those people that I totally get why a documentary like this is coming out, and I'm happy and proud to help promote it. I guess the next follow-up question to that with you, Derek, what got you? Why did you want to make the documentary Get Me Doug Jones? And Doug, what was your inspiration for working with Derek and William with directing it?
Well, if I can start this, first of all, this relationship here was formed back in 2007. I was at a convention in Europe, and he was there representing some other actors. I was there by myself. I was sent there by someone who didn't really know the convention circuit very well, and said, "Yeah, I got this gig. Go, hey, have fun." And I got there by myself at a table, with a line of fans, and I didn't know really how to negotiate that. I watched him dealing with his clients, his actors, and operate, just handling all of the administrative work that goes behind it. So all the actor had to do was to greet the fans and hug on them and sign things, and get pictures taken. That was great. So at the same time, he saw pictures on my table of what my career had been to that point, and Pan's Labyrinth had just come out. So there were pictures of the fawn and the pale man on my table, and he apparently had seen that movie just recently and was a huge fan of it. So
I was gushing. I was like, oh my God, that's you. And I'm like, I just watched this movie and it became my favorite film of all time, taking actually the place of Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back, which is now second. And I was just blown away and I couldn't believe it. And, over the weekend, we would, sit next to each other during the promoter meals and we would just keep chit-chatting all weekend. Yeah. And it finally became like when I got home, Doug took me to dinner and said, I want to hire you. So it was like, that was fantastic. And it's been, 18 years now.
yeah,
And, so your earlier question about, how we got into this industry leads up to the film for my answer. So I moved to Hollywood just like Doug did, to be rich and famous. And I was an actor. And I was in an improv theater troupe for 10 years and did all the pounding of the pavement and did, commercials and in what we do as a young struggling actor. And then eventually I kind of got caught up in the waiting of, I hated all the no's you got. So I made a film of my own called Instant Dads, which you can find on Amazon. And that film was on the film festival circuit and got nominated for Best Picture 5 times and won the honor twice. And then a happy path was a sidetrack was put in front of me of this management side of the world. And my first celebrity client was actually Billy D. Williams, and he is still my client to this day. But he's family as well. So is Doug. Like, it's becomes more than just the business relationship. So over the years now, I've been doing these conventions and appearance management while at the same time my creative side was kind of like stifled. So I found other outlets like producing some film documentaries, which I've participated in. But I wanted to have more creative control and more say over what was happening. And so I've watched Doug struggle. He's cried on my shoulder. I've been to red carpet events with him and cheered him on. I've had triumphs with him where he shared with me his joy. And I have watched this man for 18 years, and there is a side of him that I see that no one else does. And one day it was like, why don't I make a movie about Doug and show the world? I watch fans fawn over him at conventions, and if they could just see how amazing he is. And I'm like, I'm gonna talk to Doug about this. I have to make a movie about him. And he turned me down twice. And he's like, no, we're not doing that. Just forget it. Get it out of your mind. And it would frustrate me because Doug never has received the accolades that he's deserved. He's been in Oscar-winning films. He's been in Oscar-nominated films. He's been on Emmy-nominated TV series, but he doesn't have statues of his own. And so this film is my love letter to Doug. And it's going to be the accolades that he's never gotten. This is going to be his statue. So he'll have a DVD sitting on his desk. But it was the third time that we met. I kind of ambushed him. I hired this amazing director, William Conlon, who made a movie called Making Apes. It's a documentary about the original Planet of the Apes series of films and the makeup that went into making those movies. I'm a huge documentary person. I love documentaries, mainly because I don't like to read. So documentaries are a way for me to learn. And it doesn't matter the type of documentary. I love, medical documentaries, behind the scenes documentaries, history documentaries. But the one thing I hate with certain documentaries are talking heads. It's so boring. I want talking heads, but I need a story to go along with it. And Williams' film, Making Apes, does just that. When it was over, I was like, oh my God, wait, I want to know more and I want to get to know this person more. So a friend of mine happened to know him and he introduced me. And so I told him about my idea about this Doug Jones thing. And he's like, wow, I'd love to be part of that. And I'm like, well, the problem is Doug doesn't want to do it. And he goes, okay, well, we're going to get him to do it. You and I together. So
they ambushed me. We were in Las Vegas about to start the convention, the Star Trek convention there that happens every year. I was at the hotel about to go downstairs to start the day, and Derek texted me, stop by my hotel room on your way down. I want to talk to you about something. I get there, and he's introducing me to William Conlon, who was in the room. And this is a director, gave me all of his credits, and told me the bent that William wants to have with making this movie as well. Because the thing that did not interest me about a documentary was that I do interviews all the time. And a lot of journalists want to, let's go back to the beginning and just how did you get, kind of how we started this interview, right?
Right.
That's a curiosity most people have, is to walk us through your career up to this day. So I didn't want to do that one more time on a documentary. It's been done. So now with William and Derek collaborating on how do we tell a story, that's okay. Now you got my interest a little bit more with the story about the person, not just the bullet points on my IMDb list. So when you broaden it out to that, then okay, we dip back. We not only talk to co-stars and directors and makeup artists I've worked with, but we also get to talk to my three older brothers, my lovely Mrs. Laurie, my daughter Natisha, we even talked to my high school drama coach. We found her after 40 years of not speaking, not being in touch with her. We got back in touch with her for the first time, and they caught all this on film of us seeing each other, hugging each other for the first time.
Wow.
All unstaged. It's all real.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
so these are moments that don't happen in a podcast interview. That's what I want.
Right.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Now, if I was already intrigued with the concept of a documentary about you. Now this sounds like so much more heartfelt, and not just a story, but like people get to see the real you, and like I guess behind the scenes stuff as well. But I've always looked up to you and admired you for your work. So
Thank you.
I've actually been trying to get you on my show for like this year will be 10 years that I've been doing it. So thus it's come to fruition. And
I'm sorry.
absolutely, I think we're actually linked in, and I think we follow each other on Instagram or something, or Twitter, one of the ones. But I've started to say that I followed like not just your career, but other like character actors. And one person who unfortunately passed away a couple years ago now, who I believe you had the chance to work with, who on the topic of Pittsburgh, where I'm located, Camden Toy.
Oh, of course. Dear friend. Yes, we loved him dearly.
Yeah, he was
Yes.
a client of mine,
Also a client of Derek's.
a big heart. Doug and I actually got to visit him before he passed away. We drove up. Well, Doug drove. I rode up to San Luis Obispo where he was, and got to spend some time with him.
Spent a day with him. Yeah, it was really. And you arranged a one more convention for him. His last public appearance was with me at a convention in Mississippi, maybe, I think, or somewhere.
Yeah, I think it was Mississippi.
Yeah.
And he, oh my God, he was in so much pain.
But he championed through, and you would never know.
He wanted to do it. I mean, he was like, Derek, I'm getting on that damn plane. And the promoter was gracious enough to, not every actor gets first class all the way. And Camden, he knew his pecking order in Hollywood. The promoter said, Derek, I know he's sick. First class the whole way, treat him right. We got to go to dinner with him on Saturday night while he was in excruciating pain, but he wanted that time, and we're lucky to have had it.
Yeah, and the fans at that convention had no idea that he was going through late stage cancer at the time.
Right.
Such a champ. I adored him.
I was lucky enough to have him on my show as one of like my first big kind of interviews. And one of the things that you've worked on, and I believe with him, was Buffy. And actually, the episode that we specifically talk about that probably is one of, if not the most infamous episodes, is the one where the demons that steal the voice.
Yes, it was the Hush episode, and
yes,
he and I played the two lead gentlemen.
Yes,
in that,
yes. I still have nightmares about that episode. It was
right then.
it turned out exactly like it was supposed to, and I remember growing up in the age where cable still was pushing the limits in terms of what they could show and restrict wise. I remember the X-Files had that episode that was like their version of like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I believe that got banned from cable. And I'm pretty sure they do not play the Buffy episode Hush too often either. But if and when it's on, I will watch it hands down. It's probably my favorite episode in the entire series. I thought the concept was brilliant. It actually could work for a feature-length film, whoever's listening.
I'll share something with you. Every podcast we've done for this film, I'm trying to share little tidbits and something exclusive that'll be just for your viewers. And Camden will be a part of the film because we're going to talk about him for very briefly in the film, and probably one of these pictures from this night. So this was the last dinner we got to do with him at that event we were talking. So this is a personal picture. No one's ever seen this before except Doug and Camden.
Oh, wow.
That was an incredible evening. And for those of you watching that know Camden, you'll see a drink there. Camden was an alcoholic, but he was 28 years sober.
Sober, yeah.
That is a non-alcoholic drink right
we
there.
were having mocktails that night.
Well, I wasn't.
Yeah, but
And
I've never been a drinker either.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something we shared in common.
That was a good night.
That was a good night. And, that's the last time we saw him alive.
Yeah.
Was that weekend. And what a joy he was.
Yeah, Camden, I met him at the Horror Realm convention here in Pittsburgh. I had him on the show from an area where my dad used to live and lives close to now, Murraysville, here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Another Pittsburgh person that you were able to work with is the one and only infamous Batman.
Well, I've worked with Batman. You know which Batman though? You were Michael Keaton?
Michael Keaton, yes, the
Yeah.
one and only Batman.
Well, bless you. Yeah. Yeah. I had a great time on Batman Returns as one of Danny DeVito's henchmen. His sidekicks were called the Red Triangle Circus Gang. So I was like a kind of a faded evil clown. My name in the title was Thin Clown, Doug Jones.
What a stretch.
Yeah, no, well, it's like that kind of describes me from head to toe. But I had a great time on that. Was my first time being in a big major studio film. And I was just so like, oh my gosh. On my way to the set, my first day of filming, I had the radio on in the car, and the DJ was saying, "Oh, today starts the filming of Batman Returns." It was that big of news that like you couldn't watch the movie yet, but it was started filming that day, so it was big LA news that Batman Returns is in production. Ta-da! So I thought, well, this is a big deal. There's no big deal if they're talking about the radio, So I had a great experience with that. Danny DeVito he called me, "Hello, kid," every day. Makeup trailer together. The renowned Oscar-winning makeup artist V. Neal did both of our makeups. She turned him into the Penguin with such, what a transformation that was. And then she did my clown makeup and kind of had to mess it up a little bit because we were evil clowns. So anyway, had a great time on that.
I've actually had V on the show.
I haven't seen it in such a long time now. I need to.
Yeah.
And we just got some new pictures of Doug. I'm going to show them to you later.
Okay.
No, on the set.
I was young. I needed the money. What?
We're always looking for new images to refresh for conventions.
Oh, yeah.
And I've got a new one of you and Keaton.
Do?
I have to show it to you, and if you like it, we're gonna print it and put it on the table.
Okay.
So yeah,
okay,
fantastic, or I should say, in the fish pun sense, fantastic.
You might be the first customer for it.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yes.
Well, and also, if you like Batman, I don't know if you are aware of a YouTube channel called Bat in the Sun. Bat in the Sun, a production company that does a lot of fan films based on DC characters, and DC is fine with them doing this because they're very slick, beautiful production quality. And I was in a Batman short called "Batman Dying is Easy," and I got to play the Riddler for just a split second in that. It was a kind of a flyby. Awesome. But their fan base went nuts over it. It was very sweet to hear. And that Batman was played by Kevin Porter, who did such a great job with that character. And then I just recently did something else with Bat in the Sun. Another Batman short in which I got to play Alfred. Yes, his loyal butler.
That's cool.
Had a ball with that. And then the age I'm turning into, it's like this is getting more appropriate all the time. Yes.
like the Riddler and Alfred, like total
worlds apart. Worlds apart. Yeah.
Perfect casting for both. Obviously, I want to ask a little bit more about the documentary before, and hopefully a little bit more. Obviously, I have some Hellboy questions. I know you probably get them all the time, but that's like on the Fisch Bowl. We have to talk about the most infamous fish out there.
Very fishless, yeah.
Abe Sapien. And I'm sure you get this asked all the time as well. Will we ever see Hellboy 3? Oh,
well, I'm not the one who can answer that question, unfortunately. Those decisions are way above my pay grade. But if it were up to Guillermo del Toro, Selma Blair, Ron Perlman, and me, absolutely, of course, we would all love to do a part 3 for you. Once those reboots started happening for much cheaper than the first
right.
one, then it's more difficult to come back around and continue the first two movies in another sequel. So again, I don't know how that could happen. I guess it could. The fans like you, thank you very much, have been clamoring for a part three since 2008. Yeah. So thank you for that. These 18 years have not gone unnoticed. We're all aware. So if you see interviews with Ron Perlman or with me, we have both said, yes, I would love to come back and do a part three, but it is not up to us. When people hear Ron say that, especially, they're like, "Oh, guys, it's happening." No, neither of us have the power to make that movie happen because we don't have $150 million of our own to put into it, right? So that's it. I think it's probably a big money question, a big, production question. And, Hellboy 1 was done at Sony Studios. Hellboy 2 was at Universal Studios. So where would the home be for part three? I don't know how this works exactly. So
And also, I guess in the day of streaming versus like how long stuff is actually released in theaters versus like people who, like me, old fashioned, still go to the theater.
yeah.
And really, I'm an advocate for going to see a movie in a theater. My first memory is actually at age 3 seeing Back to the Future Part 3 in theaters.
Yeah.
And my first R-rated movie that has probably been a big reason that I'm obsessed with basically the entire cast of The Expendables, as well as makeup effects, is Total Recall, H5.
At age 5, wow.
Total Recall, like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Total Recall. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So obviously makeup effects, Rob Button, Rick Baker, Stan Winston, Pittsburgh again, Tom Savini. I follow all these guys' careers, and I'm just as much of a fan of theirs as the actors. And
I am too. Yeah.
Well, if he's a fan of people like that, one of the people in our documentary is Mike. I always say his last name,
Elizalde.
Elizalde. So he was one of our first interviews, actually. And again, I didn't say that in this interview. Everyone we've asked to be in the film has said yes, and he was the first. We went, and he was our first celebrity interview that we did.
Mike Elizalde he heads up the Creature Shop Spectral Motion. They're the ones. And they're the ones who did my Abe Sapien makeup from the Hellboy movies. And they did me as the Silver Surfer for Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer, and a host of other things as well. Also, in Hellboy 2, they also created the Angel of Death that I played and the Chamberlain character that I played in that movie, too. So we've been through a lot together. So it was lovely to have him be interviewed for this documentary after all we've done together.
Awesome. And any other celebrity giveaways you can cite?
Yeah. I'm being very strategic on how we release names, and part of it is out of respect. So we have a lot of interviews that are coming up, but I won't say who they are, because if something goes wrong, their schedule changes, they need to get to another country, something happens with their family, whatever, and they don't get to record or film their interview, we may not be able to reschedule it and they won't be in the film. So we only announce who has completed their interview and is in the can. And every time we complete one, I don't wait. It immediately goes on IMDb as the next surprise. So we haven't had anyone as of late because we haven't done interviews lately, but we're releasing every name. There are no surprises because honestly, those names are important to us to show. It gives credence to the film, for being legit. I mean, we are an independent film. We're not owned by a big studio. So those names help us go, holy cow, they've got Noah Wyle, they've got Sonequa Martin Green, they've got Ron Perlman. Whoo, it's amazing. So yeah, no secrets. There are names coming, so you'll have to wait.
So if you go to IMDb and look up "Get Me Doug Jones," you'll see the list of people that he's talking about that have already been filmed and are definitely in the movie. And that includes those three names he just mentioned: Ron Perlman, Noah Wyle. I worked with him on a series called Falling Skies for 3 seasons. Sonequa Martin Green, the lead actress of Star Trek Discovery, with me for 5 seasons. And Harvey Guillen is in it. He played Gizmo in What We Do in the Shadows with me. And we also have Mike Mignola, the creator of the Hellboy comics, who also advised on the movies. We love him. And the list.
Oh, so many. I mean,
so many. The list goes on.
David Ajala, Anthony Rapp,
Yeah, a bunch of my co-stars from Star Trek Discovery
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
Leonard Maltin, the film historian.
Yes, Leonard Maltin, the
Oh,
film.
awesome.
Yeah, it was tickled pink that he wanted to talk about me. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I guess what's like the next steps for like the release process and stuff like that to get the film out there and
Right.
when and if at all, if you can even say if there's like possible like release date in like an eye.
Well, the our goal is to release it early next year, and we want to have it in every film festival that we can get it into. And I'm very proud to say that we were able to raise all of the funding for principal photography on our own, which is very hard for an independent film to do. Our next step right now is to do a crowd finishing campaign. So that's where we're going to reach out to some of your fans and some of his fans and other people out there in the world who we will tell them all about the film and say, look, we need your help to make it a reality now. And we're going to have one of those platforms where you do crowdfunding, where people can buy things for as little as $30 or $40 all the way up to $20,000, and they will get their names in the credits. And then those funds are how we're going to pay for music rights and how we're going to pay the editor and how film festivals are very expensive. When you see celebrities walking the red carpet at Cannes or at Sundance, it costs money to get those people there. Plus you have to pay for your submission of your film into those festivals, and if they don't pick you, you don't get that money back. So we need to raise those funds to finish this film and make it a reality. So Doug was gracious enough to donate some items from his personal archives, like what we do in the shadow scripts, Star Trek Discovery scripts. We've got some prosthetic pieces from Saru, and the list goes on. Some of his co-stars have been gracious enough to sign autograph pieces for us that will be perks on the platform. So we're looking to get the platform active May this month, and it'll be a 60-day window. So we're hoping that everyone can go to getmedugjones.com. Getmedugjones.com is the official website of the film, and when the campaign goes live, it'll be blasted all over that website, all over our social media, and then people like you are going to reblast it for us, which we thank you so much for. So yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I have to say this, Derek, I believe we've been in contact before through via email, and I think we may have even met in person because Billy D. Williams has come to the Pittsburgh Steel City Con a number of times. So I had to put the face to the name, but I know we've been in contact definitely through email, and I believe we've met possibly face to face at one of the.
I guarantee you that if you met Billy D. Williams, you met me, because I've been with him for 30 years,
and he goes nowhere without you.
He doesn't go anywhere without me.
Yeah.
So I am right by his side the whole time.
Yeah.
Yes, then definitely. I'm happy one to have both of you on the show, but also Derek to put like the face to the name, and a pleasure having both of you swimming in the bowl with me. I do have a couple closer questions since we're kind of like at that point. My first question is, what are some of both your favorite films in general? I know Derek, you mentioned, or I think Doug mentioned for you Pan's Labyrinth, and it was Empire, but any other like just films in general that were inspirations for where you're at today?
My top 5 would be Pan's Labyrinth, The Empire Strikes Back, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, Jaws, and Tootsie. With Dustin. He was brilliant.
He was brilliant in that. I know.
Yeah.
He was robbed of the Oscar that year too.
Yeah.
But mine. Yeah, I'm a kinder. I as an audience member, I like to watch kind, gentle things with happy endings. My favorite movie of all time is Somewhere in Time with Jane Seymour, Christopher Reeve. It's time travel romance. And runners up would be Notting Hill with Julia Roberts and Hugh Grant, Waking Ned Devine, an Irish movie about old people that I absolutely love, and Meet Joe Black. Love Meet Joe Black.
That's a great movie.
Oh, golly. Talk about, there's some fantastical in there, but it's a really beautiful romance at the same time.
Yes, yeah. That's one of my favorite movies. There's a lot of different elements in
That's interesting because people would look at you and go, "What? He doesn't like science fiction movies?"
I know, or horror films. I know, yeah. I do like I appreciate them and horror things and dark things but what I like to watch is not what the genre that I play in. Yeah.
Mhm.
and here's the final fish question of the Fish Bowl today.
Okay.
And in the fish theme, and Abe and being Abe Sapien and Shape of Water,
Yeah.
both of you, if you could be a fish, any type of fish or sea creature, both real, mythical, whatever, what fish, mythical, real sea creature would you be?
So,
Mm.
sea in general, it doesn't have to be a fish.
It could be
Yes, it can be a sea
I
creature, mythical, real.
I would be a sea turtle. They're my favorite. I go scuba diving and swimming with them is probably one of the most magical things someone could ever do in their lifetime. They
and
Awesome.
and I would be a happy-go-lucky, smiley dolphin any day of the week. Oh yes, love them dearly.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Derek, Doug, the double D's again. Uh, thank you so much for taking the time to swim in the bowl with me. It was a pleasure having you both on the show. I'd love to have both of you again anytime, and I hope the temperature was just right.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you so
so
much
much.
for giving your time to us too. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Hey there, all my fishes in the sea. Thanks for tuning into today's episode and for being a subscriber. Your continued listenership and support means the most and helps keep the show growing to deeper and deeper depths. I want to let all my guppies in the sea know the Fish Bowl has now officially partnered with FastCustomShirts.com, where they're now selling custom Fish Bowl t-shirts under their podcast and website section. Every t-shirt that's purchased helps and goes a long way to keep the show growing to deeper and deeper and higher depths. I also now have custom hats, beanies, handbags, pens, mouse pads, everything to make you look like the coolest looking fish in the sea, which you can DM me directly on Instagram at the Fishbowl88 or on Facebook at just the Fishbowl, or you can friend request me, Sam Fish, directly and get yours today. Your continued listenership and support again means the most. It's the most important fishes that flock together. We are a school of fish and we keep the unit going. Let's all keep swimming upstream.